Hello everyone, this is Wealth Accumulation Channel. How strong can a person's curiosity be? Just look at Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger often invites his friend Buffett to their family, staying as a guest at Lake Isle Cottages in Star Lake, Minnesota. Once, with no waves and no other boats, Charlie Munger puts the rudder into position for a sharp turn, then backed up at full speed and literally sank the boat. Buffett nearly drowned. Since then, Buffett has never dared to sit in the investigation Munger's boat. But this incident did not affect their friendship. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. These two add up to a cute old man, who is more than 200 years old. Not just like-minded friends. Partner for over 40 years. For more than 60 years, since 1995. Berkshire Hathaway. In charge of hundreds of billions of dollars of funds. But the total number of stocks they bought is less than 100. 10 of the most successful investments. Let the company's market value from 10 to 20 million US. $500 billion to date. Poor Charlie's Almanac book condensed his personal experience, investment philosophy and life wisdom. Whether you want to understand the principles of value investing, let personal wealth grow, still want to accelerate growth and refinement, far superior to peers, this book is a good choice. 1. Sophisticated thinking, love of learning and practice. Improve self-cultivation. American Charlie Munger. In many ways, it is very similar to the scholar bureaucrats in ancient China. He has a tireless learning spirit. Love to read and pay attention to practice. Knowledge of the world is far beyond ordinary people. In an interview with reporters in 2018, he once said he read 20 books a week. Carry a book with you at all times. Even sitting in the middle seat in economy class. As long as there is a book in hand, he won't feel like he's wasting his time. Many people stop studying after leaving campus. No longer take the initiative to accept fresh and effective information. Become dull and closed from conception to action. And Charlie Munger, who has long achieved financial freedom, always keep learning and improving. Although his body is no longer young, but his spirit and mind are like a young man's. Sharp and energetic. Munger's lifelong pursuit of self-improvement. Not greedy for material comforts. Like he is now. Living house. Or an ordinary house bought decades ago. Always fly economy class when traveling abroad. Always arrive 45 minutes early for appointments. I will also apologize specifically for the occasional lateness. A young Chinese entrepreneur had a breakfast date with Munger. When he arrives on time, discover Munger has read all the papers for the day. Thinking of asking the old man to wait for me. The entrepreneur is very upset. So on the second and third date, he arrived a quarter of an hour and a half an hour earlier. Found that Munger was still ahead of him. To the fourth date, the entrepreneur cruelly arrived an hour early. Discover Munger was about 45 minutes away from the meeting time. Arrive at the scene. Start reading the newspaper. In this way, Munger's self-discipline and punctuality left a deep impression on the entrepreneur. Every good person has many good habits. It's these habits that shape them day in and day out. Make them a better version of themselves. Munger also has strong self-discipline. He makes money with his brains and wit. I won't do anything against my conscience. Once he and his partner Rick Glenn decided to buy a business. Some of the bonds are in the hands of two old ladies. They could have paid far less than their debt. Face value purchase price. Munger gave them money at face value. One more time. Don Rick Glenn. Need some cash to make another investment. Want to put 2 people. Half of the joint venture. Sold to Munger. Rick made a price. And Munger offered him nearly double that. He will neither take advantage of the old lady. Won't take advantage of partners. Because he always believed that honesty was the best strategy. Charlie Munger. Improve through continuous learning. The wisdom of life also realizes the value of life through investment. 2 cases of reverse thinking research failure. Reduce cognitive biases. Reverse thinking. From the opposite side of things. Way of thinking about problems. Compared to others. Charlie Munger is a typical reverse thinking. Because of this reverse thinking. With huge wealth, he is always sober and self-aware. In major life and career decisions. Almost never make a major mistake. Charlie Munger has mentioned in numerous interviews. I only study 2 things in my life. The first is to discover what works. Then practice it. The second is to discover what is invalid. Then circumvent it. Munger spends a lot of time researching. What is going to fail? Minimize cognitive bias. He not only studies failure cases. It also summarizes the reasons for failure into positive. Checklist for sound decision. Let yourself not make similar mistakes next time. Besides, he also pays great attention to practice. Verify that your thinking is right. Still wrong. Revise your thinking with feedback from practice. The reverse thinking that Charlie Munger always insists on can be used in all aspects of work and life. Liang Da, a business consultant, once mentioned in an article. One of his jewelry property insurance. Great friend. This friend is through reverse thinking. Solved the risk control problem that has always caused headaches for peers. Jewelry property is among the types of property that are often stolen. Many companies in this industry will lose money. But because his friend has done a good job in risk control, the company is profitable. He asked his friends. It turns out that this friend will look for those jewel thieves who got out. Chat, learn from them. Under which circumstances jewelry is most likely to be stolen. Then make a judgment through reverse thinking. What kind of beads should I give? Bao property underwriting can reduce risk. If you want to reduce your life risk, keep yourself from making stupid mistakes. Try reverse thinking. He will help you from the mistakes and failures of others. Lessons learned. So that you can avoid detours and get closer to success faster. Some things bring pain in life, such as drug abuse, domestic violence, etc. Then the sensible choice is stay away from them from the start. Some things can kill a business. For example, blind investment leads to excessive depression, etc. Then the sensible choice is stay away from such companies when investing. Charlie Munger said in Poor Charlie's Almanac. To understand how to be happy in life, you have to understand how life can be painful. To understand how a business grows stronger, we have to study how companies go into decline. When many people only know how to think about problems according to conventional thinking, those skilled in the use of inverse people who are thinking towards will stand out, so as to easily outperform most ordinary people. 3. Competence circle. Thinking understands competence boundaries. Always stick to the principle. Buffett, based on his decades of investment experience. Circle of competence. Only buy companies that you understand. And Charlie Munger very much agrees with that. Good investing requires both patience and ambition. At the same time, have a clear understanding of self. You need to know what you are good at and what you are not good at. Know your limits. At the same time, avoid understanding bias and avoid making mistakes. About circle of competence. Buffett tells about a self-made old lady. The Rose Bloom pin story. This old lady Russian immigrants came to America in 1916. A few years later, with $2,500 in savings, started a furniture store. By 1983, owns 3 major home improvement stores in the US. Business scale reaches $60 million. Although the old lady's English is very bad, and she doesn't understand stocks, and only accept cash. But Buffett still chose to invest $100 million in his company. Invest with cash. The old lady's circle of competence is to buy and sell furniture at the right price. He never steps out of the circle of competence. Do things you don't understand. This kind of focus and restraint made his career go down all the way. It also won him the favor of Buffett. Buffett says, "There's nothing wrong with having such a narrow circle of competence." In fact, his seemingly rigid commitment to that field, so he can concentrate. Only by focusing on him can he overcome his own shortcomings. For such an extraordinary achievement. How to act within your circle of competence. Always uphold discipline and principles. Charlie Munger says what you need is not a lot of action, but a lot of patience. You must stick to principles. When opportunities come, you grab them hard. Just be ready to take a few chances in your life. Take prompt and appropriate action. Do simple and logical things. Wealth in this life will be greatly increased. There are many ambitious people around us. Down-to-earth people are rare. Most people have a hard time sinking down. Focus on doing one thing well for a long time. And wait patiently for the rewards of time. They are always chasing the so-called outlet. Seldom commented objectively. Assess whether your capabilities and resources match. A lot of people. For the rest of my life, I can't see my circle of competence clearly. I don't know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. They are always switching back and forth between different projects. Always fantasizing about catching the wind and getting rich overnight. If life is a marathon, those who have a circle of competence thinking will eventually come to the fore. They are able to objectively examine the extent of their abilities. Give up temptations that have nothing to do with core goals. Live your own opportunity and keep working hard, so as to get on the track of life. Own medal. For diverse thinking, interdisciplinary learning to form independent judgment. How to avoid cognitive biases. Charlie Munger offers his own way of thinking. Multiple thinking models. It is a collection and processing of information, and in accordance with the information action framework, combining multiple traditional disciplines, such as history, psychology, physiology, knowledge of multiple disciplines, including mathematical engineering, methods and analytical tools. He said in Poor Charlie's Almanac, "You must know the important theories of each important discipline, and use them often. Not just some of them, but all of them." Most people try to solve all problems in one way, through a distinctive pluralistic thinking model. Charlie Munger earns his first million. Munger persuaded a client. Obtain the right to develop a piece of land. This land is located northeast of Los Angeles, next to shopping center. But his original partner temporarily withdrew from the project, because the land only got a 49-year lease. while Bank of America. Development projects, with a lease term of less than 50 years are generally not granted. Provide loans. But Charlie Munger didn't quit because of his partner. Shrink and give up. Instead, use multiple thinking to solve these problems. 1. How to get a loan to support development. Munger's approach is to: I found a company that was eager to lend money. Local bank that charges interest. Get a loan. How to get people to buy a house with a 49-year lease. Munger's analysis is based on economic principles. People's purchases. Decisions are influenced by psychological principles. People often think the present is more important than the future. The population of Los Angeles continued to grow in the 1960s. The housing market is undersupplied. If his house can meet the needs of a certain group of people, there will be a market. 3. How to find new partners to develop together. Munger has a full-time job himself. Can't get the whole project done part-time. He was at his wife's alumni event. Met a reliable classmate husband. Although this friend has never engaged in real estate development. But Munger uses management principles to focus on inner potential. Choose to trust him and pull him into the gang. Munger on sale. Try to highlight the cost performance of real estate projects. The price of the real estate is low and the quality is good. Single-story bungalow with large area of greening. The Gateway Shopping Center is a 20-minute drive from the city center. Despite the 49-year lease restriction, the houses he developed still sold out quickly. Munger relies on his multiple thinking. Make the right judgment. Through the operation of these real estate projects, earned $1.4 million. Accumulate your first wealth. Have no idea. After his original partner saw the result, will you be beating your chest? We often see similar stories in our lives. Even the same thing. Two different people will also make cuts. Opposite judgment. Because of the difference in knowledge reserve and way of thinking. Everyone sees the world differently. If single-minded people can only see one point of things, then people with multiple minds can see many sides of things at once. Like in heaven. Facing lawsuits from competitors. Several small shareholders only see risks. Xiao Yuan. Keenly aware of the risks. Opportunities that may be hidden behind. People with multiple minds. Compared to those who only have a single mind. More likely to be closer to the truth of a matter. Are more likely to make accurate judgments. In life, it's hard for us to see a person like Charlie Munger, general and wealth, wisdom and longevity. But he can get it all. Not just because of luck. Charlie Munger, who has gone through nearly a century, once told people the secret of longevity and happiness. Don't envy, don't complain, don't overspend. Maintain an optimistic attitude no matter what difficulties you face. Teach reliable people to do their duty. He spent his whole life practicing refined thinking. Reverse thinking circle of competence thinking and multiple thinking. And let more and more ordinary people believe. Persist in being a long-termist who takes the right path. Will eventually be rewarded with time. This is Wealth Accumulation Channel. See you next time.